Welcome back. You're still watching Hard Copy. My guest is the president of the National Union of Local Government Employees, NALGE, Mr. Ibrahim Khalil. And we're looking at local government autonomy. Before the break, we're talking about what you expect from the state and local government. It is clearly a constitutional problem. I say that because I took a look at the Constitution, and it appears that there are quite some portions of it that could be responsible for why state governments are adamant on the issue of local government autonomy. I say that because the 1999 Constitution, which created the opportunity for manipulation by the two other tiers of government, states clearly that Section 7, Chapter 1 of the 1999 Constitution provides that the system of local government by democratically elected government councils is under this Constitution guaranteed, and accordingly, the government of every state shall, subject to Section 8 of this Constitution, ensure their existence under a law which provides for the establishment, structure, composition, finance, and functions of such councils. Now, going by that, some people say that the Constitution assumes that the law relating to local governments would be made by the state houses of assembly.
Ordinarily, if you go by the provision of the Constitution as is read out, there wouldn't be any confusion in terms of relationship between state and local government. If you look at the problem of the relationship between state and local government is merely attitudinal. Attitudinal in the sense that the political elites in charge of the affairs of state government are so greedy to the extent that they don't respect the provisions of the Constitution. In all the provision you read, no mention was made about the governor of the state.
It was clear on state government.
No, it is the responsibility of a state assembly to provide for structure, function, and finances of the local government, not the governor. But in practical, what we are witnessing is the governors that dictate what will happen to the local government. Because most of the state assemblies, or all of the state assemblies in the Federation, are being controlled, remote controlled by the governors, because they are pocketed by the governors of the state, because they also lack autonomy to operate as legislators.
Let's take Cross River State, for example, now. Yeah. They're looking at a bill that will allow for the appointment of permanent secretaries at the local government level.
Yeah.
What will that solve?
It will solve a lot of things, because you need a strong civil service in the local government as a machinery that will move the governance, the business of the governance in the local government. And that is another critical area that have been retarding the development of local government, because the level of encroachment by the state government does not stop on the finances of the local government alone. There are some states in the Federation that for a staff of local government to be assigned with a responsibility of a sectional head, the governor of the state has to approve it. The governor is bringing himself so low to that. Even when in each state is expected to have what we call local government service commission, a commission where the composition of the board will be drawn from the retired civil servant who has vast experience and knowledge of local government. But let me give you a critical example of Kano State. Kano State is having the largest number of local government in Nigeria. But as I'm talking to you, they don't have local government service commission. They control the staffers of local government from the governor's office. They control the fund of the local government from the governor's office. They decide when to have election in local government or when not to have election in the local government. And that is the case all over.
If we truncate the joint account system, how can we check the spendings at the local government level?
The truth of the matter is that for anybody to use corruption as a reason to encroach into the fund democracy and the administrative responsibility of local government, he is committing the biggest corruption in the land. The issue of corruption in Nigeria is a big issue. It's an issue that needs to be addressed with a clear, defined, a pause. But if you are combining a corruption issue with local government, where in Nigeria you can say there is no corruption? Corruption is everywhere.
Well, another position on this stat. Some people have said that granting financial autonomy to local governments might not be a solution, basically because local governments might not be able to handle staff salaries.
Local government had been managed before 1999 very, very well, effectively well. Like I gave you example when I joined local government as a worker, as a young worker. I know no financial intervention comes from either federal or state government. Each local government, collects their own internally generated revenue within the frameworks of each local government. And they were able to execute so many meaningful projects that impact on the life of the citizens at that level of government. And at that time, everywhere in Nigeria was peaceful because there was connectivity between people at the grassroots level and governance. There was an inclusive approach to governance because people were happy, they are carried along, and they have governance at the doorstep of their community. Look at what we are passing through today. The security challenges everywhere. It's as a result of the malfunctions of the local government. Youths of our rural areas are moving out of the rural areas in thousands all over the country to the cities in search of greener pasture. And the greener pastures in the city are nowhere to be found because the cities are saturated. So what we need, local government anywhere in the world, is created to provide this inclusive platform to accommodate so many things. And even the 22% of the revenue from the federation account, according to the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission, is a distributable, income that will address poverty in the land and, bring some reliefs into our communities and create opportunity of development and opportunity to harness and exploit local talents.
Well, finally, before we go, there have been agitations to stop states from determining the tenure of local government councils. And one of the problems here, from what we gather, is that we have a situation where state governments conduct elections at the local government levels. Are you comfortable with state governments conducting elections at local level, or do you think INEC should step in and handle that?
The truth of the matter, if we really want to, emancipate our country, particularly from the menace of insecurity, you need to have a strong, inclusive approach to governance. And the only way you can achieve that is by having a functional, democratic local government system. A local government system that will connect people with governance and democracy. A local government that will be free from any encroachment from the state government or any level of government.
So you would rather have INEC conduct elections?
Exactly, because democracy without election, what kind of democracy we have? There is no democracy if the election is the vote of the people does not count. But in the case of local government, it's not even the issue of the vote of citizens to be counted. It's the issue of allowing the citizen even to participate. It's governors that decide. Some of the governors spend 3 years before they conduct local government election. They conduct election at the last year of their tenure. We recently saw the election in Kaduna last year. How many years was he there, Erufai, as a governor?
Mr. Ibrahim Khalil, well, out of time now. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you for finding time to come on Hard
Thank
Copy.
you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, that's Hard Copy for tonight. We're posting the entire interview on our website, so log on to channelstv.com and let's have your reactions via our social media handles on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Terry Ikumi. Good night.